They say knowledge is power. But that's the biggest lie ever sold to men, because today everyone knows what to do. Save, invest, wake up early, grind, and yet, look around. They're still broke, still frustrated, still trapped. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack control. The truth is, a man can read 1,000 books on success and still lose to his own impulses. That's the real trap. You built a rich mind, but a poor discipline. They told you discipline was a choice, that all it takes is self-control. But here's the forbidden truth. You were never trained to control yourself. You were trained to obey. From school to work, every system rewards one thing: compliance. Show up, sit still, follow orders. You call it responsibility. They call it programming. That's why every time you try to change your life, something inside you resists. Not because you're weak, but because your entire mind was wired to seek comfort, not freedom. Think about it. You scroll through motivational content, watch men talking about wealth and power, and for a moment, you feel in control. But the second the video ends, you're back where they want you, distracted, drained, and disciplined, only in failure. The modern system doesn't fear your intelligence, it fears your consistency, because a man who can control himself can't be controlled by anyone else. Every time you lose focus, someone gets paid. Every click, every impulse, every just 5 more minutes, it's not random, it's architect. Your attention is the economy, and they've built an empire on your distraction. You think lack of discipline hurts only you. Wrong. It feeds the machine. Every unfinished goal, every abandoned plan, every time you choose pleasure over purpose, you generate profit for someone else. They sell the illusion of choice, but every option leads to the same place: consumption. Look closer. Your phone isn't just a tool, it's a leash, a glowing chain that keeps you connected to a world designed to drain you, not empower you. You think you're in control because you can scroll, but the truth is, you're not scrolling content, you're scrolling obedience. And the irony, the men who built these systems don't use them the way you do. They invest in your distraction, while you invest your discipline in their profit. They taught you to chase rewards, that every effort deserves a treat. You work, you earn. You finish, you rest. You suffer, you deserve pleasure. Sounds fair, right? That's exactly why it works, because while you celebrate the small wins, they celebrate your surrender. You've been conditioned to seek comfort every time life gets uncomfortable. That's the invisible program. A dopamine system disguised as motivation. You're not addicted to failure. You're addicted to relief. Every scroll, every snack, every impulse buy feels like control. But it's surrender in slow motion. And here's the brutal truth. The system doesn't want you miserable. It wants you comfortable enough to stay obedient. Tired, but not desperate. Distracted, but not broken. Productive, but never free. That's why every paycheck comes with a sale. Every stress comes with a screen, and every burnout comes with a reward. You think you're resting, but you're resetting your chains. Your discipline is currency, and someone's already spending it. Every hour you push through fatigue, every ounce of focus you waste on distraction, that's energy being harvested. They don't steal your money first, they steal your momentum. Because once they drain your energy, your money follows automatically. The truth is brutal. Most men aren't broke because they earn too little. They're broke because their focus is owned by someone else. Every ad you see, every opportunity that pops up isn't selling a product, it's buying your attention. The machine doesn't want your belief, it wants your reaction. Every swipe, every later, every I'll start tomorrow is data that feeds the system, a map of your weakness. And here's the sinister part. They know exactly when you'll quit. They track when your motivation fades, when you're most likely to scroll, and when you'll settle for less. It's not an accident that everything designed to help you also keeps you docile. Self-improvement influence, productivity hacks, fake finance gurus, they all orbit the same star, monetized attention. You're not lazy, you're being farmed. They don't sell products, they sell control. Every platform, every app, every innovation is designed to keep you busy, not productive. You think you're multitasking? You're being fragmented, because a man who can't focus can't rebel. They call it freedom of choice, but it's a cage built from infinite options. Every notification you get is a tiny electric shock, a reminder that you're not the one in charge. You believe you're chasing opportunity, but what you're really chasing is permission. That's the brilliance of modern slavery. You don't need chains when people are addicted to stimulation. They don't silence you, they flood you. They drown your clarity in noise, then sell you clarity back as a course, a podcast, a productivity app. It's the perfect business model. Create the problem, then monetize the cure. They own your fatigue, they own your confusion, and they know as long as you keep trying to improve, you'll never realize You were never meant to win. They told you to work hard, but they never told you for whom. The system glorifies exhaustion because tired men don't ask questions. They call it the grind. You call it survival. They call it discipline. But it's obedience wearing a mask. The truth? The modern hustle isn't about progress. It's about containment. You run faster, but the treadmill was never yours. You trade sleep for ambition, health for validation, time for illusion, and every hour you sacrifice on that altar of productivity, someone else cashes the offering. The rich don't hustle. They leverage. They don't compete. They construct the game. You keep fighting for a seat at the table while they're upstairs selling the building. That's the twisted genius of the system. It makes you worship the very cage that keeps you docile. You think your effort is noble. They think it's predictable. Because when you finally burn out, they'll sell you a retreat, a wellness app, a new dream to chase. It's not motivation. It's manufacturing obedience. Real power doesn't scream. It doesn't hustle. It observes. Because when you understand the game, you stop playing the role they gave you. Control isn't about effort, it's about restraint. The man who can delay pleasure controls every man who can't. While they chase dopamine, you build system. While they scroll, you study pattern. While they spend to feel alive, you invest to stay free. This is the moment the system loses leverage. When you stop being predictable, you no longer react to the noise. You start moving in silence, like the very people who built the machine. The same rules that enslaved you can liberate you, but only when you stop craving shortcuts. Because freedom isn't chaos, it's architect. Every habit, every boundary, every decision you no longer delegate to impulse. That's money you didn't lose, time you didn't waste, energy they didn't steal. You start realizing wealth was never about dollars, it was about control. And now, for the first time, you're holding the leash. The final trap isn't poverty, it's dependence. They don't need to chain you anymore, they just need you connected. Connected to your job, connected to your feed, connected to validation, approval, routine. A prisoner with Wi-Fi. You call it stability. They call it perfect design. Because the most profitable man is the one who keeps working, even when the doors are open. That's why the richest people don't brag. They disappear. They move off the grid. They stop explaining. They stop proving. Freedom isn't noise. It's silence. When your money works quietly, when your mind no longer needs the crowd, when your time belongs only to you, that's when the system loses you forever. And maybe that's the goal you were never meant to have, to live invisible but untouchable. So if you're still watching, remember this. Wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with disconnection. Turn off what feeds on you, build what answers to you, and walk away before they notice you stopped running.